We're in Elul, we're thinking about Teshuvah, we're thinking about return. When we talk about Teshuvah, Teshuvah literally means return. It doesn't necessarily mean, doesn't have to only mean repentance from sin. Teshuvah means to return. Teshuvah baita, come back home. Lashuv. Shav, the root is return. There are many types of return. So definitely we should be focusing on sin and mitzvahs and averas and all of that. But Rav Kook has many other aspects of return that he discusses. And there's a beautiful statement of his, and it's worth looking into what he means. I'll read it to you and I'll translate it to you and then I'll try to explain it. It's like half a paragraph. So he says, when we forget our own essence of our own souls, and when we lose concentration to look at the our internal life of ourselves, everything becomes blurred. So if we're not connected to ourselves, things become blurred. We can't see things the proper way. I don't know if you've ever been in a decision and all these people are sharing their opinions with you and you have trouble hearing your own voice. So if you can remove the distractions and get connected to your insides, that can help you see things in a clear way. And he says that the initial tshuva that immediately brightens up things immediately is that you should return to yourself, to the root of your soul. And then immediately you return to God, to the soul of all souls. And you go further and further in holiness and purity. So there's a few components here. One is the value of being connected to yourself. Another is interpreting tshuva, repentance, as a return to yourself. And lastly, the fact that this helps you come closer to God. So let's talk about the first part. And the second part I have a question about. But this idea of returning to yourself is very powerful. I'm trying to think of what he's talking about. So minimally, he's talking about returning to yourself as a religious person, right? So we say the Jewish soul has a connection to Torah and mitzvahs. So that's our essence. We want to return to that. But I think on another level, though, he's saying this month is a time to think about who we are and what our values are, what really animates us and inspires us. Sometimes we forget that because we're involved in so many things with work, or we're involved in taking care of other people, we're involved in what other people is important to other people, and we kind of lose track. And so this month has the power to return, has the power to help us think about that. Think about what really is important to us. What inspires us. So think about that a little bit and get in touch with that. And when we're aligned with that, we're able to grow spiritually on a higher level. Now, the question I have on his teaching is that he says that when you return to yourself, it helps you return to God. What do you think about that? Why is that? What do you think? Yeah.
Because when you're born, you have a godly soul. Every time you live, you essentially attract and conceal that godly soul. So if you are able to free it, as it were, and get closer to God, you're restoring it to where it was, and essentially you're restoring yourself closer to God.
But why specifically return again? Why are we turning to my? Is everything okay? The phones are going on. Returning to my inner soul. How that specifically me, my person. What?
Maybe it's your godly soul.
My godly soul. Okay. Any other thoughts on that? Yeah.
Created in God's image, and I think we all are God.
That seems to be what he's saying. So we all have a part, I guess a component of godliness in us. So that thing that inspires you, that thing that drives you, the personality traits that you have, those are part of God. That's an extension of God. And so when more we're in touch with that, the closer we can become to God. I think it's a beautiful idea. It's not just about sins and mitzvahs. It's about godliness. It's about returning to ourselves. And through that, we can restore some divinity in the world by really being in touch with who we are. So this is the month to do it. It's a month that's it's an opportune time to really tap into who we are, kind of clear out all the static and all the distractions and focus inside. And through that, we'll come out stronger and more elevated and hopefully more godly.